Imagine standing at the edge of a sheer cliff, in the heart of the American Southwest. Before you lies a ghost city, hundreds of stone dwellings carved into red rock, towering kivas, and intricate passageways. Silent, empty, frozen in time. These were once bustling homes, filled with laughter, prayers, and the rhythm of daily life. And then, suddenly, everything ended. The people we call the Ancestral Puebloans, sometimes known as the Anasazi, built one of the most advanced civilizations in ancient North America. Yet, by the late 13th century, their cities were abandoned. Why? Did they vanish in tragedy, or did they transform into something new? Was it climate change, war, or something far darker? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll not only know the theories, but also the haunting lessons this mysterious civilization left for us today. The Ancestral Puebloans were Native Americans who lived in what's known as the Four Corners region of the United States, where Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico meet. Their culture began to flourish around 100 AD, and lasted for centuries, reaching its peak between 900 and 1150 AD. These people were not nomads. They were farmers, cultivating corn, beans, and squash in one of the harshest environments in North America. They built irrigation canals, terraced fields, and ingenious systems to collect and conserve water. Their farming knowledge allowed them to thrive, where survival itself seemed nearly impossible. But they were more than farmers. They were also traders, architects, astronomers, and artists. Their trade routes stretched hundreds of miles, bringing exotic items, macaw feathers from Mexico, turquoise from the desert to the south. Their pottery, intricate, symmetrical, and beautiful, still inspires admiration today. Archaeologists divide their history into stages: basket maker, Pueblo 1, 2, and 3. With each stage, their communities grew more complex, more sophisticated. Small pit houses evolved into massive, multi-story stone dwellings, some rising 4 or 5 stories high. At the heart of their villages were kivas, circular underground chambers for ceremonies, meetings, and storytelling. And then, there was Chaco Canyon, often called the center of their world. Here they built enormous stone complexes, like Pueblo Bonito, with over 600 rooms. Without the wheel, without metal tools, without beasts of burden, they created something extraordinary. And they aligned it with the stars. The sun dagger at Fajada Butte marks solstices and equinoxes with astonishing precision. These were not just builders, they were engineers, skywatchers, and spiritual visionaries. But every rise brings its challenges. To understand why they disappeared, we must first understand why they flourished. The Ancestral Puebloans thrived because of their adaptability. They engineered complex water systems, built roads that stretched for miles across the desert, and created social networks that could support thousands of people. Imagine it, villages larger than some medieval European towns of the same era. They mastered trade. Their turquoise was prized throughout Mesoamerica. In return, they received copper bells, shells, and colorful feathers from faraway lands. Trade brought wealth and connection. Spiritually, they lived in harmony with nature. Their rituals followed the rhythm of the seasons: rain, harvest, and renewal. The kiva ceremonies weren't just religion, they were life. They held communities together through belief, unity, and purpose. But success came with a price. Populations grew. The demand for resources, wood, water, farmland, exploded. Forests were cut. Soils were strained. The delicate balance that sustained them began to tremble. By the late 1100s, cracks were forming in this once prosperous world. Then came the collapse. By the late 13th century, great cities, Mesa, Verde, Chaco Canyon, and others, stood silent. Entire communities were gone. The question is, why? The mega-drought. Tree ring studies reveal a devastating drought between 1276 and 1299, 23 years of failing rains. Crops withered. Reservoirs dried. Hunger spread. For a people so dependent on agriculture, this was a death sentence. Some fled, searching for water, for survival. As populations boomed, forests vanished. Timber became scarce. Without trees, the soil eroded. Farms turned barren. The land itself could no longer sustain its people. Archaeologists have found burned villages, skeletons bearing signs of trauma. The struggle for food and water may have driven communities to fight each other. Once peaceful farmers turned desperate survivors. Bones discovered with cut marks hint that, in the face of starvation, some may have resorted to consuming human flesh. Was it survival? Ritual? Or something even darker? We may never know. According to Hopi and Zuni oral traditions, their ancestors did not vanish, they migrated. Guided by spiritual visions, they moved to new lands, fulfilling a sacred cycle of renewal and balance. To them, the disappearance wasn't collapse, it was transformation. Perhaps it was not one reason, but all of them together: drought, famine, conflict, and faith that drove the ancestral Puebloans to leave behind their stone cities and begin anew. Did the ancestral Puebloans truly disappear? No. They live on. Their descendants, the Hopi, Zuni, Acoma, and Taos Pueblo peoples, carry forward their ancestors' traditions, languages, and beliefs. Visit Taos Pueblo in New Mexico, and you'll stand in a community that has been continuously inhabited for nearly 1,000 years. The echoes of the past are alive there. The kiva ceremonies continue. The pottery designs endure. The spiritual harmony with nature remains at the heart of their lives. The ancestral Puebloans didn't vanish, they evolved, adapted, and survived. Their story is not of extinction. It is one of endurance and of resilience. The story of the ancestral Puebloans is more than a mystery, it is a warning. They built a thriving civilization in a harsh land, but when faced with drought, overuse, and conflict, their world shifted forever. Today, we face similar challenges: climate change, deforestation, scarcity, and division. Will we adapt, as they did? Or repeat the same mistakes? The cliffs of Mesa Verde, the ruins of Chaco Canyon, stand as silent witnesses. Civilizations rise. Civilizations fall. And the choices we make now will echo through time. So, what do you think happened? Was it drought? War? Or something deeper, a spiritual calling that led them away? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more untold stories of history.